Dun, dun, dun.
This is the Justuff League.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Justuff League. Yes, I like this echo harmonization. It's very different. It feels exotic. Just like this episode.
It feels sexy.
Why is this episode exotic?
So, if you remember
tanned?
from last week, ladies and gentlemen, it was our first ever pilot experimental using this crazy program that producer Kyle has discovered. And we now are a audio visual podcast breaking through into the 22nd century.
Yes.
We're now in 2 dimensions.
Yes, we're literally like, I feel like, remember when Buck Rogers, they had Buck Rogers in the 21st century?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like we're in right now. We're in that super spacey Buck Rogers.
Did he make a lot of podcasts too? Or
does that make producer Kyle Aaron Gray and Travis is Tweaky?
Tweaky, oh God. But yes, so please, if you are listening and you are seeing us, that means you are also watching on YouTube, Kyle. Is that the correct answer?
Yeah, that's it. So if you're an audio-only listener and you want some visuals to the show, last episode we did a couple of screen shares with some auction results, things like that. But you can also just look at us. So go check it out. There's a link for the YouTube channel in the show notes. And visual is there.
That means everybody.
And we're going to be playing with this and trying to figure out how best to display things to you guys. We're going to screw up sometimes as we play around. Let us know if you like it or you don't like it. Just keep listening and keep watching.
We're open to suggestions, yes.
Hey, all I know is I just saw Mr. James Supp do a beautiful hair swoosh, and I was like, everybody's going to see that now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Everybody should want to see that now. Go subscribe to the YouTube.
So you were here.
What are we doing today? What are we talking about?
Well, first, we didn't give our intro because I was giving that precursory asterisk about Justuff League, Mr. James Supp.
Justuff League.
Producer Kyle. I'm Travis.
What's up?
And again, a moment of silence as we have lost Kev Dog. He is not with us this episode.
But he'll be resurrected and be back soon.
We didn't lose him to like death or anything. We lost him to technical difficulties. Not a big deal.
So today we are doing and this is weird for me, from an emotional standpoint, very little money involved. 6 months ago, maybe, James is crossing his arms and looking at me strange. But a little about half a year ago, 6 months ago, producer Kyle was telling us before we started recording, we had Chris Crone on, owner, organizer of Retro World Expo, Retro Games Plus, just a huge dealer in vintage video games, both East Coast and West Coast based. He has 5 different locations. He is killing it.
Can you tell me the locations and the phone number? Because you're doing a great commercial here.
I can't. I'm not doing a commercial, but I'm just saying, we had him on. We're going to be doing
5 locations nationwide. East Coast, West Coast.
We're going to be doing...
Spatula City.
Spatula City. Oh my God. Same exact thing. Cool. That was sick.
We will be doing another episode with him to check in on the video game market soon. But today we're going to talk about personal video games, what we played with as a child, and how that is reflected today in the collecting community. And what has inspired this is most recently on this season of Antiques Roadshow, we just had Hour 3 from Santa Fe, New Mexico air, in which I did an appraisal on Super Mario Bros. 3 and Double Dragon for NES, for Nintendo, and Super Mario Bros. 3. Even though that does predate me, that is a game that I spent basically all of my, from age 5 to 8, playing nonstop with my brother.
No, you didn't, because I heard you on Antiques Roadshow specifically say, my brother and I played this game for at least 30 hours.
And that is the problem with editing right there, everybody. When we film, there are multiple takes taken. The first take, I said 30 to 40 hours a week. The second take come around, I had one of my, little mental wire snaps in my head. I probably saw an airplane or a bird fly through the sky, and I was like, oh, my brother and I played this for at least 30 hours, but look at that bird! Totally.
The editing guy was like, that Travis motherfucker, I can't stand him. I'm about to make him look real dumb, saying that he only played Super Mario 3 for only 30 hours.
30 hours?
No, if I had to say...
In a row?
Hey, yeah, right. If I had to say...
In a row?
A total bulk time that it would have to be thousands of hours, I think. I mean, God, we would play that game every day. He'd come home from high school. You know, he'd be home from high school. I'd be coming home from elementary school. And it'd be like, here we go. And the sad part was, I say we played. I mean, he mostly played. And then even when it was like the 2-player mode, he would just play the second player, and I would just have to watch. And very rarely would I be like given the controller to actually.
What a jerk!
Yeah, older brothers, man, it's a tough life.
so we got the Nintendo. God, it must have been 85 or 86. We got it early. It was right after Gyromite and the robot came out. We got the first set after that. My uncle at the time was working like as a marketing director for I think Atari or Motorola, one of the two. And he'd gone overseas, saw the Famicom, was trying to get him imported in the United States at one point. Long story short, when the Nintendo came out, he promptly got us one. And of course, me being me, I took a razor blade to all of our presents when I found out where they were stored to cut the wrapping paper to see what they were. Dude, I was so excited because I'd seen the commercials for the robot, Gyromite, and I was so excited about Super Mario Brothers. All we had was the 2600, which was kind of shit. My older sister's a year older than me, was so excited when she opened it up, and I'm just sitting there like, I already knew what it was. And my dad, I remember getting this look like, you're not excited by this? You're the computer nerd. What the hell's wrong with you, boy? Yeah, we played that game. It only had Super Mario Brothers with it. We still played that for hours and hours and hours.
So how does it feel, James, being someone who, as a consumer, you experienced these games, primary market, right? Mm-hmm. And now today we have, I'm not talking crazy variants, whatever, just your regular Super Mario Brothers 3, banged up box, factory sealed, is today easily $1,000 to $2,000.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how does that sit in when it's such a new market that wasn't even there 5 years ago?
Well, it was there 5 years ago. It absolutely
It was nominally there 5 years ago. That's correct.
It was still a several $100 Super Mario 3 in the original wrapper. 5 years ago was still several $100s, 300, maybe 500. But there were no grading companies or anything like that. There wasn't all this research into all these crazy reissues and variants. And is it the first import sticker, second import sticker? I mean, which manufacturing wrapper was it? I mean, there wasn't all this obsession with the variant styles, which is causing these prices to go nuts. But also what was happening with a lot of these games is they were being bought by people who had played them and really bought them for the nostalgia. And that was really kind of cool because you knew that these guys had a passion for it. Well, now it's become a commodity and it's being collected as by people who've never even owned a Nintendo or even who never knew the controllers had only 2 buttons at one point.
But is it?
Yeah.
Well,
first of all, Travis, don't do what you just said. That's first. Second of all, we've alluded to this auction on our show several times over the years. It's one pretty large, known, prominently auction house who sold a freshly graded like one of the first graded copies of Super Mario 3 at an extraordinary price. And that's like, I don't want to say the flashpoint of this market. It's not the flashpoint of it, but it's really the point in time in which people started to say, oh, holy shit, there's a lot of money in there, huh? And then other people were more drawn to it. And it's because of this like event that kind of culminated all the circumstances of it. You know what I mean?
But we have already seen extremely volatile prices in the market. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, they have to be bought by real people every time is the trick, right?
But okay, well on. I'm getting sucked into the money. I gotta retract.
But we're not talking about the money. We're talking about the emotions.
Okay. My first experience, Super Mario 3, is some of my earliest experiences on God's green earth. I'm not even kidding. My earliest memories are playing that game and Super Mario 2 at my cousin's house when I was probably 3 or 4 years old. I just brought it back to with some sentimentality. If you want to go into money now, Travis, you may.
Well, no, I'm not going to. I was just going to divert and continue because I'm going down memory lane right now in my head. So what's funny is growing up, the NES always stayed in our house, okay? Like NES, my brother loved it. He played it all the time. Even when we were getting into like, all of a sudden now there's PS2 and I was getting a GameCube. It's like NES was always the gold standard. For some reason, My brother was never as big of a Super Nintendo fan, so that was always at our grandmother's house. But Mega Man X, I can still, I swear to God, ask Ashley, as my witness, strike me down with thunder and, not thunder, lightning. Thunder's just the noise. Strike me with lightning. The opening level of Mega Man X, I can play with my eyes closed.
Nice.
I can play the opening level of that game with
Producer Kyle just held up Mega Man X.
Yeah, the very first
Nintendo.
The very
It's a
first
sweet game, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know all
the first
jump,
level
like
when you're going through the city.
Yeah,
Dude, when
I
you're
know the
going
level.
through
Yeah.
and it's like at the end the guy he grabs dude.
yeah, you can't beat him no matter what, and then
Can't
the
beat him
red
no matter-
guy shows up and saves you. Yeah, 100%. I
And-
played Mega Man X a bunch in my life. That's really the only Mega Man game. I never played any of the ones on NES either.
Dude, and then you go Penguin, Eagle. From Eagle, then you typically go like the electric guy because the wind stops him. Then
Okay.
Flame Mammoth. And
So-
I just remember
While we're on Mega Man X,
so
Travis,
good.
have you ever unlocked the Hadouken in Mega Man X?
Wait, are you saying like the extra
Ooh.
blaster when you go through the Wind Eagle and when you go the second
And he
time
does
you
the
blow?
Hadouken. Hadouken.
Yeah.
There's like a little
Yes.
coming on. All right. I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure you've unlocked it because I never unlocked it the first times I played it as a kid. But my best friend since I was 11 years old, Carlton. What up, Carlton? Tons of fun. How you doing? He like knows that game like the back of his own hand, and he showed me that for the first time, and it blew my mind to see Mega Man doing a move from Street Fighter as a kid. Still does when I think about it.
I have successfully unlocked like every piece of armor that is in Mega Man X. Dude, that game is a lifestyle, I feel. Like that, and that is a game, if I could have one game in my personal collection as a factory sealed thing, that would be a game I would buy. That and Pokemon Platinum for the Nintendo DS.
Interesting.
See, for me, we had this the NES, and that was the big machine. When we started getting all the other consoles like the Sega TurboGrafx, we got the TurboGrafx, which was an awesome machine with some great games, but it didn't have the staying power as the Sega Genesis and what have you. But then I got into PC games, and I went much more in the PC game direction than I ever did in the consoles.
Yeah.
Until I joined the Army, and we got this horrible thing called the Nintendo 64 and Goldeneye.
Oh my! Which Goldeneye is coming back out, by the way.
It's already out. My kids and I were playing. Yeah, dude.
So James, let me ask you the question then, because I was just talking about this the other day with GoldenEye. I played it a ton when I was a kid, 4th, 5th, 6th grade with my buddies on N64.
Yep.
I would be excited to see it like remastered or whatever, just for like the sake of like the spectacle and nostalgia and whatever, and seeing how it looks. But from a gameplay perspective, from like the replayability, from how fun it is it still there, or is it totally fucking outclassed by anything that's come out in like the last 10 to 15 years?
No.
Okay.
What?
Go, Travis.
Dude, there is something, I don't care what it is, there is something about true video games that are 64-bit and back that are just so, like, I feel it's direct to the point. I feel more in tune playing any older video game, like, connected with the system, than I do playing a PS5. All right. The past 2 years, I was freaking out. I had to buy a PS5. I finally get one. I want to throw that piece of shit out of my freaking window. I hate it. It's such bullshit that I have to be on Wi-Fi. I have to do this. You have to download games. There's too much space. Now you have to uninstall some games.
Kids, I remember back in my day.
Listen,
No,
I just
you're
want
right,
to...
though.
I just want to blow a cartridge. That's all I want to do is take a nice cartridge right up to my mouth, blow that cartridge, stick it in a slot, and push some buttons.
There
That's
is
it.
something magic. There it is. There's something magical about which one's that?
That's Pocky and Rocky. That's one
shoot.
probably.
Jeez,
the first Pocky and Rocky probably gets you about $100 on eBay, maybe a little more.
Wow.
The second Pocky and Rocky though, that's like $300-400, man. Second
Dude,
Pocky and
I
Rocky I
haven't
never played.
seen that in years.
Do you
Great
have-
game.
Do you have Mega Man X2 and X3?
I do not know. I only have Mega Man X.
Major money games.
I also
Major-
don't have all of my games here. I just so happen to have a random like couple dozen games next to me right now. But Super Nintendo is the system of all systems for me. And I've had, I came into a household when I was born with already having an NES. I got a Super Nintendo. I got an N64. Went to PlayStation 2. Nothing touches Super Nintendo. What you're saying though, Trav, like an old 16-bit game, like for whatever reason it connects with you more. I wonder if it has something to do with the idea that like the technology for modern game systems, PS5, like it gives you so much in terms of it. It's like it's almost overwhelming for your senses to fully fucking appreciate. And when you simplify it and dumb it down a little bit with like a game that you can understand, like the mechanics of it, or like how your body is supposed to like react to the play style. Like there's just something more gratifying about it. I understand what you mean.
So I can tell you right now with my kids growing up. So I've broken out my old game systems, the 2600. We played the shit out of Joust together when they were 2, 3, 5 years old. The Nintendo Wii was an amazing system for them growing up because it had all the great gameplay. But specifically with not as much with GoldenEye, we've only played it the once. And it was on an emulated system. But anyway, the kids react really well to simple, good gameplay. Joust is an amazing game. We played a lot of it on the Atari 800, and we played the arcade emulated version on the main machine. They love it. It's not depth of gameplay. It's just simple, easy, reactive, and there's a great feedback to it. When you stabbed the pterodactyl. When you've caught that egg. It's just good sound effects, good feeling, good response gameplay.
Dude.
And for a lot of those games, they had to rely heavily on that. It wasn't all about the amazing graphics and the amazing sound. It was we had to have good gameplay first. Everything else would follow that.
Know what else? Great game I was just thinking about? Bionic Commando.
That was
Bionic Commando.
That.
Fabulous.
You guys
Bionic
mentioned Mega
Commando
Man
for NES. Oh my god, such a good game.
I love that game more than Mega Man.
Dude, Burger Time, phenomenal game.
Yeah.
But so what's weird is I love consoles, okay, and I've always been attached to consoles.
Really quick, one more thing about the consoles that's amazing. Cartridge games. You literally plug it in and they work. There's no waiting. There's no 10 minutes of loading while it downloads all the
updates.
I hate buying games for the kids for Christmas. I've literally been opening them a week ahead of time, putting them in and letting them all download because we have had bought games, opened them on Christmas, put them in, and the servers crashed.
Hey, from opening the PS5, right? It took 24 hours before I could even play it with all the updates and everything that needed to install. And it's crazy. Dude, I even think like even 10 years ago, or we're in 2023, so 10 years ago, 2013, that's my senior year in high school, I was just balls deep in the Elder Scrolls, like Skyrim.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All the time. You can't even find a good RPG right now anymore. Okay, prime example. All the kids today are freaking out about this Elden Ring for PS. Dude,
all the young whippersnappers in their gosh darn Elden Ring. Yeah,
it's so stupid. I'm talking to little Eli, okay? My buddy Jared's son, who we reference all the time. He's like, bro. Now he bros me. Hey, I can't even believe that. He picks up the phone. He's like, bro. So he bros me about Elden Ring. He's like, dude, this game's so fire, bro. You got to play it. I call him. I'm like, I'm walking around for 30 minutes doing nothing. And he's like, that's the point of the game. It's open, free world. You don't know when things are going to come up. You just walk around aimlessly. I was like, I don't have time for that. I want to pick up my medieval sword. I want to kill some goblins. I want to stab some people. I want to steal some guy's horse. I want to break into a farm and, pickpocket the maiden.
You know what you actually want to do, Travis? Everything that you just said to me indicates that you don't actually want to play a video game. You want to play real tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, because that's what you do in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep. Okay. No, you don't. You go to the tavern, you hang out there, then you go to the store, you buy a bunch of shit, you try to start the adventure, then you frustrate the DM, he yells at you, they throw a bunch of dice around, he stomps off, Oh wait, sorry, that's my experience.
So no, our experience growing up with D&D was that, again, my buddy Carlton would usually be the DM, me, his brother Jimmy, and like a handful of our other friends. We'd like ignore all the cues for that, that call to adventure. We'd be like, let's try to start a fight and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Let's go to the guard tower in the village and see if we can burn it down.
Push someone off.
Probably be good for experience if we kill all the guard towers in a guard tower fire. But
dude, do you remember how good Oblivion was before Skyrim?
Dude, let's talk about the Elder Scrolls.
Fallout.
So I played all of those. Right, I literally spent last weekend setting up Oliver, my oldest. He's 12 years old. Setting up my old computer for him, so we could run Skyrim VR. So he use it with his Meta headset.
Oh my god,
sick!
Oh my lord!
Look at that dramatic
I got
screen
sick as a
rollout.
dog from motion sickness. It is. I'm literally playing this game, and Skyrim is 10 years old, right? Isn't it? It's like 2015,
easily.
maybe.
No, older than that. I was playing it in high school. It's 2013, 2012.
Okay,
But like the first time Skyrim came out, like the first Skyrim was 2006 or something, and then they updated it.
No. You're saying the first Elder Scroll.
That was like 1999.
Yeah, because you had Elder Scrolls 3.
Arena.
I forget. Then, but the one I got in was Oblivion.
Morrowind is what I'm thinking of. That
was before
when I was in
Oblivion.
high school. Yes.
That was a long time
I'm
ago.
old, bro. Oblivion.
Dude, I'm old.
You're 26.
I
Shut up.
bought the first Elder Scrolls. Oh, so 2011 is when Skyrim came out. That's 12 years old. So literally, I spent, and I've got my last computer is a pretty fast computer, but we set it up so we can run all the graphics, so we can push it out to the Meta Quest 2 that he bought.
That shit Mark Zuckerberg's bankrupting his company over. Yeah.
I spent 12 hours downloading mods, getting them all set up, updating. I did HD textures and getting all these little variations set up. It is the most amazing thing I have played in literally decades. Because I'm literally just walking around, I think it was Windhelm or something like that, walking through one of the towns, I hear a dragon behind me. So what do you do in VR?
Shit your pants.
I turned around and looked up. There's a freaking dragon flying over me.
Dude, it's crazy.
And I'm sitting there going, well, shit. I got my bow set up, so I am drawing my bow like a freaking video game in real life. And it's working. It was
crazy.
Insane.
If the dragon kill you, you don't just shoot your bow and arrow.
No, he burned the shit out of me.
You should have left him alone and enjoyed the ambience, What the hell?
Yeah, there have been, I've played probably an hour and a half of it. Now, to be fair, I probably have 300 hours in Skyrim over the last 15 years. That I have a lot more in Fallout.
Oh God! Fallout 3. Dude, between Fallout
New
3,
Vegas,
Skyrim, and Borderlands, I played Borderlands
my kids
so much.
Here's my question: do these still qualify as vintage games?
Dude, they sell for more. Okay, ready for this?
Okay,
yeah,
dude, I have been actively trying now. So what's funny is we mention Heritage all the time when it comes to video game auctions. They do a weekly.
I didn't mention them by name earlier. What are you talking about?
Well, I'll mention them by name because I've been buying from them every week like I'm going to the dollar store. So I play a game with JC, who JC we know is the one Justuff alum who could never come back on the podcast.
No, actually, that was not public information until just now, and you just aired out your buddy, which is hilarious.
It's okay.
Anyway,
it's JC.
I love.
Sorry, JC.
Every Tuesday is what Heritage calls the mini boss auction, which is just like their lower tier games. I literally play a game as to what video games I can buy for less than grading cost. Mm-hmm. So it's like you can buy like a Skyrim collector's edition WADA 9.4 for like $60.
Wow.
But like a true first Skyrim graded is going to be like a $200-$300 game. Dude, supposedly right now, like the thing that one of the conspiracy games was like, if you have a true first BioShock for Xbox 360, supposedly that sells for a couple $1,000, but they've also only sold for as little as like $79.99. But if you look at that Tuesday auction, These PS2, Xbox 360. Hold on. I could actually, if I wanted to visually show everybody, I could go grab them. The package came in last week. They're in my other room. It's up to you, though, PK.
I was about to say, one of these days we should do a unboxing.
Yeah, unboxings are cool.
Presents.
Are they like close by to you, Travis, or do you have to walk somewhere to go get them?
While he's getting them, I can talk to you, Kyle, about something else.
30 seconds. I'm going to mute my mic. I'll be right back.
Okay, be swift, be dead.
In the PC world, the games haven't caught on. Vintage games in the original wrapper haven't caught on to the same degree at all.
Well, with vintage PC games, my question is, and like as somebody who played a handful of vintage PC games when I was a kid, it's like if I were to grab those right now, would I be able to like even install those on my modern day computer 30 years later? Like if I got a CD
because you don't have a floppy drive.
Forces or Dark Forces was one I played all the time.
Great.
And then
game.
there was another one called Full Throttle that LucasArts made as well.
That was amazing.
One of the best games ever. Mark
Full
Hamill did a bunch of voices in it.
Yep. So the LucasArts Adventure series, one of their best ones was Day of the Tentacle. Full Throttle was one of the last in their great series. But Day of the Tentacle was a brilliant comedy game. Sam & Max was another series. A lot of those adventure games still do well. But what's really cool is that a lot of the early video games for PC, they came with what they call feelies. Those were introduced by Infocom back in the early 80s because they were a text-based adventure game, i.e., you're literally just typing, wake up, walk east, kill the Gru, turn flashlight on. You were typing your commands and it would display text back for you. Look up Zork. It's amazing.
I had some LucasArts desktop games when I was a kid. One was Indiana Jones based. One was Yoda. It was called Yoda Adventures.
Oh, Yoda Adventures. Yeah, that was a Windows based.
It was like point click maps. Here we go. But Travis, what do you have in?
I am back.
Plastic cases.
Yes.
Hold on. Let me finish this PC thing.
Sure. Sorry.
So a lot of those early video games came with feelies, which were like little objects, like cloth maps in the Ultimate series, which occasionally came with coins
because you could feel them. I get it.
Exactly. But Infocom introduced that, and sometimes it was a crude form of copy protection, having little books in there that you had to read commands off of, little hints like that. But sometimes they're full-on objects, and some of those have a great resale value. The manuals were a lot more in-depth, but the vast majority of these games you can't play anymore. You can download them. There are emulators online. Go to archive.org. But for so many, you just can't. And that kind of sucks. But let's go back to Travis.
All right. So back to my game that we play at Heritage. Everything I'm going to show you, except for Digimon 4, was purchased for using less than what I figure is like true cost, which is $60 for grading, and then another figure the game $20. Okay.
Wait. It costs $60 to go to WATA and grade a video game?
Yeah, minimum.
That's bull plop.
So look at this.
Shnikes.
We have.
You know what? I know the cost of those cases.
Lord of the Rings, third. Now, granted, you were talking to someone who I don't necessarily believe in this. I just thought it was fun and I was bored. Lord of the Rings, okay? A 9.4 A seal rating for whatever that's worth. I paid $42.
10-year-old game?
No, that's original.
2004. 2004.
20 years old.
Okay.
Which
That's
Lord of the
original.
Rings game is that? I can't read it with the glare.
Lord of the Rings, The Third Age.
The Third Age.
Okay,
Interesting.
yeah.
I didn't play that one. I had a couple of those Lord of the Rings games that accompanied the movie release.
Shadow of Mordor. That was good.
I bought this one for Ashley because it had Paul Pierce on the cover.
NBA 09 The Inside. Yo, Paul Pierce is, in fact, the truth.
There he is over there. Boom. Dudes, hey, $36.
2009 was that year that he had that crazy face-off with LeBron in the playoffs.
My question is, where is Heritage getting this, that their consignor spent $60 to grade this, and they're okay getting a hammer price of $32 minus a minimum commission? Or is it a crazy conspiracy theory? And like people say, is before WATA became a thing, they just went around buying up every sealed video game possible they could find and slabbed
There is no conspiracy theory on there. They were going around and buying.
Because why would you grade this? Why would I spend
anybody who buys vintage video games knows sports games are forever on the shelf and nobody ever wants them. Okay, those things will sell for fucking $4 goddamn a couple of years after they're released. Never mind 20 years after they're released. I mean, I don't know the specifics of NBA The Inside as a game series.
Oh, it's
I don't know if it
terrible.
was something that was, but is that why it's a little bit more valuable? Is because they only released a few games or something like that?
Producer
Or is it
Kyle.
because somebody just put some shit in a plastic case, said they paid $60 for it, and now they can try to get a higher, premium for it.
I can show you my receipt. I paid 30. It was now I'm getting confused because the Lord of the Rings was 42. I paid $36 for this, plus buyer's premium. So at 20%, I think they have a minimum premium $20. So anyway, $50 for this graded game, which this game when it came out would have been $59.99.
Yeah, about that. And
So
right
it's
now
just-
you can get sealed versions in Xbox or PlayStation for between $7.50 and $13 on eBay
So
for $3.
who graded it? They had to. 'Cause
Someone who got a large discount. Because they do give you volume discounts, right?
I would
grading.
imagine. I don't.
And if you
CG
supply them with a huge amount and you go, you know what, I'm not paying $60, they'll discount it because they're trying to build that market.
So these were the only two that were true personal collection pickups. Transformers for PS2. I played this all the time. Again, paid less than grading. It was like $48, $50. And then this is the one I had to really extend on because supposedly it's extremely rare. Digimon 4 for Xbox.
I believe that.
Never played it.
If you look this up, people supposedly try to get 1,000, 1,200, 800 sealed. And I bought this for $170 plus premium.
Yeah.
And
As the
what-
only
what-
graded copy, highest graded one supposedly in the world. It's so stupid.
highest
Our
graded
claim
one
to
that they
fame.
have put in their inventory.
I
don't
know.
What are we?
So far.
What are we at?
It's a 9.4.
Okay, here's
It's
my
so
question. I've not
stupid.
looked. Have they released the population reports yet for those?
Hey, every game you look up, right? It's so funny. They'll be like, random game number 32 for PS2. Only one graded, highest in existence, 9.6. It's because all the other sealed ones are at some flea market, just sitting in a box waiting to be bought for
That's
$5.
exactly it.
It's such a
Covered
scam.
in dust.
Dude,
Dude, so Transformers a game. $9 a copy.
Factory sealed.
PS2. Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. $4.99 for a factory sealed.
See
Oh,
what I-
$7.67 to $11.51.
So who's
So
the sucker now, Trav?
No, I admit I was bored.
Yeah.
JC and I were on the phone and we're like, JC bought like 6 games. I bought 4 games. And we're like, let's just see. So my whole bill, shipping and everything was like 300 and change, which I know that's a waste of money, but eventually I'm sure I can dump
You've
these
wasted
things.
more money on less.
This is true.
And you're never going to make your money on most of 3 of those games.
No, I'm not going to make any money. I'm just going to leave them in my closet and forget I own them.
Crazy enough, the only sports games that tend to have any long-term value are the FIFA games.
Weird. Really?
Which is weird.
I would have thought
and
like
I
some
think
of
it's
the
just-
novelty sports games like NBA Jams or NFL Blitz. Those
Yeah.
games
Oh,
are like
dude.
fun and like sought out by a
That's
higher
fair.
population than a normal
And
sports game.
NFL
But like
Blitz for N64.
but hell yeah, dude!
The
I played the
best.
shit out of those games.
And speaking of Goldeneye, not to go all the way back, but the biggest thing I remember is just yelling at my brother all the time, like, "You're looking at the screen! Don't look at the screen! What are you doing? Your screen's catching!"
Oh yeah, when you go, no,
Okay.
look at your corner.
Okay. All right. Going back to my projectionist movie theater dad that I mentioned in the last
Yeah.
episode, right? We too had a very similar predicament at my house growing up. Not with Goldeneye. We played a game for PlayStation called Forsaken. And it was like this futuristic, like mini vehicle game like motorbikes. You mount them up with like weapons and you destroy each other and shit. But same idea. You can look at the bottom screen and see where your opponent is. So we connected the PlayStation to two different TVs and strapped up cardboard on corresponding ends of the screen. So that way I couldn't look at the bottom, couldn't look at the top, and then we could play without screen cheating or whatever.
It was crazy.
We did that in the Army too. It was nuts.
You ever
the lengths
play?
that we would go to.
You ever play
Halo.
Red Faction?
No.
Red Faction for
what?
PS2. Oh god, that was a great game. But
Wasn't that a Command and Conquer game?
it was like a first-person shooter, kind of scientific.
No.
It was really good. But what's crazy to me is that even games now that I played as a kid, and this is so funny, I mean, might be a little risque for the podcast, but I'll never forget. I'm in my bedroom as a kid, okay? I'm like maybe 9 or 10 years old.
Oh, God.
And
You were playing Roger Rabbit, weren't you?
And I'm under the cover, all right?
Watching the Cindy Margolis show.
No, and I'm playing my Game Boy SP. I'm playing Pokemon Emerald. And it probably doesn't do anything, but know when you play Pokemon, how you like jam the A button when you're trying to catch a wild
Hell yeah.
Pokemon?
Jam the A button, if you know what I mean.
So I'm under the cover, jamming the A button, so it looks like it's shaking the sheets. All of a sudden, I hear my dad, "What the hell are you doing under there?" And rip the bed thing right off of me. Rip the bed thing right off of me. And I just remember being so shocked, holding a Game Boy in my hand, and my dad just looked at me like, "Oh, thank Christ." Like, so relieved.
Hey,
you know, because he probably...
Of course he was relieved.
Dude.
He just ripped the fucking blanket off what he believed to be his masturbating son. If anything, Ron, you close the goddamn door and you leave and you let your boy be. You don't rip the blanket off to see what's going on under there. What the hell kind of play was that?
Oh, dude.
What did he expect to happen?
Wild.
My God, what's wrong with
Travis
him?
is a fucking nerd and he was playing Pokemon. God,
Oh my God! One, that doesn't surprise me that he's rather than play Pokemon than masturbate. That being said, Ron, what were you thinking?
Dude, I literally...
I got
vividly-
boys. I will literally go, what? Nope. Just on even suspicion.
Dude, I
You looked the
I
other
think of
way.
that all the time.
Of course you do.
you
That's
remind your
literally
dad of it?
traumatizing. I'm going to think about it all the time now, too. I'm secondhand traumatized from 12-year-old Travis.
No, it wasn't
not helping
trauma.
himself playing
But
Pokemon.
now I'm going to be worried about Ron coming in on me.
But you
Good
have
Lord.
to think, in hindsight, right? Back then, I probably didn't even know what it was to, like, beat off.
Oh, no. I'm
You know
sure,
what I mean?
but why
I don't-
would your pop...
Yeah, why would his response be to rip the blankets off?
Because he's an authoritarian.
This is true.
That's
He's a
true.
cop.
Your dad is a retired
I mean-
police officer. We do, in fact, live in a police state in modern day America. So, with all that being said, Travis, you said something at the beginning of this episode as we begin to land the plane here. You said if you could have one vintage game graded and blah, 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 regardless of the value for your collection, I think you said it would be Super Mario 3.
No.
What would it be? All right, we're going to end it on this. What game would we all have? One and only game
On a console.
from a console, let's say before PS2. Okay. So that means NES, SNES, N64, PlayStation, Sega,
Atari Jaguar.
all that shit. Atari 2600, whatever you want to say. Anything before, say, the year 2001, 2002.
I would have to say Mega Man X. That would be my
Goldeneye.
game where...
More
Mega Man
replay,
X.
and I can play with my friends. I can share the joy.
No, factory sealed. We're saying a sealed game that you have on your shelf.
Factory sealed for the collection on your shelf, regardless of value.
Oh, Zelda.
Which one?
Oh, no, even better. Gauntlet,
Link.
but the early version of Gauntlet. Because there were two versions. One was like the unlicensed version that they released before they had the NES approval. Is that right? Anyway,
Maybe.
Gauntlet.
Interesting.
That would be awesome on the show.
This was a very fun, lighthearted episode, but to leave it on a teaser, I'm really looking forward to talking about the market currently because I know it is a total 180 from what it was a year ago today. And yeah, you can if you want to drink the Kool-Aid, okay, buy the dip, buy the games again while they are a fifth of what they were through the height of COVID. I personally think that the market now has been too, I don't know if stained is the word or tarnished, but
Tainted.
tainted. Thank you, James. I personally would not want to be investing in video games like a comic book. Like, I wouldn't be buying, Super Mario Party for N64 like buying an Action Comics 1. I just wouldn't.
That makes sense, man. And because you didn't ask me, I'll answer anyway. I think if I had to have one graded for the shelf, not graded, factory sealed for the shelf, it's got to be the game I played the most in my entire life, which is, without a doubt, not Super Mario 3, but Super Mario World. I go and replay that game literally.
Yeah.
Wait, the one for GameCube?
No. Super Mario World for Super Nintendo. It's basically Super Mario
Nintendo.
4.
Yeah. Okay.
I go and replay that game, if not every year, at least once every other year.
Really?
And I know all the tips and tricks and shortcuts and all that. Just like in Super Mario 3, it's like you get the whistle in this level, you get the whistle in that level. I know all those tricks for Super Mario World. Like, that's my favorite fucking game. Probably the game I've spent the most time with. If not that, runner-up / honorable mention, Mortal Kombat 2 for Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah. Nice. See, if I had to give a runner-up, I'd probably say Pokemon Emerald for Game Boy Advance.
It's funny. Like, I really like playing games on my own, but when I think about the ones I really want to play, it's always going to be the two-player, either cooperative or reversive. I want Joust. Mortal Kombat 2. See, I was more of a Street Fighter kid.
Opposite for me. I never owned one Street Fighter game until recently.
Dude,
but if I went to the arcade, I would play Tekken over everything else.
Dude, I'm just thinking, right? I need to throw a superlative out there because I think it is such an undervalued system and it was so revolutionary for the time. PSP.
Yeah, but but how did it do? It didn't have a lot of longevity.
Dude, playing Star Wars Battlefront on PSP was so good. So good.
It's a good system, but
what we should talk about one day as we wrap this one up, we'll land the plane here. We should talk about vintage import games because I have this game right here
for Famicom.
Super Famicom, Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, maybe is what it's called. I could be wrong.
Do you have
a Godzilla fighting game a la Mortal Kombat? And it is fun as fuck, dude. I love
I've
this
never
game.
played it. I've watched videos of it.
Really?
It's
so fun. Fun.
Wait, you have a Famicom?
No, but when I was a kid, to mod a Super Nintendo, it's the easiest quote unquote mod in the world. The only difference between a Super Nintendo and a Super Famicom, this is for all the listeners at home, this will be the useful information, right? When you put in a regular Super Nintendo game, you've got these little divots down at the bottom. Mm-hmm. There are tabs in the slot of your Super Nintendo that lock in these little divots. In the Super Famicom, there are no divots. So when you pop open that tab to your Super Nintendo, if you just take a pair of needle nose pliers, pop out those plastic tabs, you could now fit a Super Famicom game into your Super Nintendo, no problem.
I learned that one. And it plays?
It's the same exact system. Those tabs are the only difference.
That was the early region lock version. Yeah.
Yep.
Dude,
I learned that shit when I was like 11 years old, started buying games off eBay. I've been buying Japanese Super Nintendo games for a minute because Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball.
Now, one thing you need to be careful of is they've got, if you can buy a bunch of those emulator systems, the multi-cartridge systems. Where I
got one right over there that plays NES and SNES.
Yeah, some of the Famicom games do have issues on those. Depending on which version it is.
Knock on wood, mine have been so good. So far, so good. But
most of them are fine.
Yeah, that's the last lesson of the day. What's your question, Trav?
I was just gonna say, do you have Return of Convoy for Super Famicom?
No, that's a Famicom exclusive game. You know what?
Yeah, there's Transformers.
I don't have it, but we could grab it. I did grab a really fun Spider-Man game that was Super Famicom exclusive
with Leo Paladin in it.
No, it's not Japanese Spider-Man. It's like Marvel regular Spider-Man, like all the regular Spider-Man foes are in it. I forget exactly what it's called. I don't have it.
So no Spider-Man jumping in a super robot.
Dude, I fucking wish, man. He better be in Across the Spider-Verse too. If he's not, I'm gonna fucking riot. But
Dude, Leo Pal is wild.
change Leopard on. So, any closing thoughts, boys? Anything we want to wrap it up here with?
I thought this was awesome. It was definitely a different take than what we normally do, and I think we should do some more of these.
Yeah, the video I think
kind
is
of a
here to
nostalgia
stay.
hit.
No, the video is here to stay for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But I enjoyed talking about why we like certain things and what we're doing with.
That's all I do.
It's fun. I mean, I actually got to see an emotion from Travis that wasn't greed. It was very strange.
Hey, you want to know what's funny? I am not I know you're gonna laugh and say no way. I am honestly not a greedy person.
No,
I just work hard. I like working hard to make money, but I'm not like Gollum, like, oh, precious, give me my greed, give me my money.
because you will throw it away on dumb shit in a second.
Oh, I burn it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like,
Like all this,
you're always
like all this shit behind
you're
my
always
head.
looking at a way to figure out the value. But see, you know what? Honestly, it makes a great halo behind.
Thank you.
I mean, look at all the crap behind me. Same thing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I mean,
No,
I've
you
got a
guys
whole
both
stuff.
have very nice background.
Hold on.
Well, here we go.
I'll tell you about it after.
All right. Well, on
I
that
just
note,
did the Travis.
we are the Just Stuff League, everybody. Please,
Stuff League.
if you have any episode ideas, please let us know. Reach out at Just Stuff League on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We want to know what you want to hear. So if you have any episode suggestions or you're like, oh my God, it's my lifelong dream to come on this guy's podcast, we might talk to you. We just might.
We might. First of all, just a couple of corrections, Travis, just real quick. No Twitter, and we're not taking open suggestions. I know you do. And we're not taking open suggestions for people who just want to regularly be on the podcast, unless perhaps you've got some level of expertise in a subject that we might find ourselves willing to talk about. Then we'll talk with you. Otherwise,
Or you're really cool.
Yeah, you got to be real fucking cool, though, because I'm on this
Yeah.
show. James is on this show. We talk to Trav sometimes. Like, there's a lot of coolness already happening. So please
I'm
make
just
sure you
a
rate and
loser.
subscribe. No, you're cool, Trav. Wherever you get the show, YouTube is now the new medium. Go check out the visuals. If you're on the audio, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get the show. And we will talk to you next Tuesday. See you
Later, Gators.
Tuesday.
Peace out.
Just Stuff League.